This is your daily market recap for Thursday, September 29th, 2022. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Thursday, September 29th. Hopefully you're surviving. I want to talk about a quick comment about that I've been repeating for folks as of the last couple days. Start off first, if you're not a member, subscriber, follower, please follow us on social media if you can. YouTube, Twitter, Discord room will open up at some point, but we'll talk more about that when needed. If you have questions, you know where to hit me up. Check the links description below. Chop. This word chop, I keep trying to explain to people the market does not always have to go in one direction. That's the name of this next little conversation. Be careful, okay? Go look at the Stock Traders Almanac. Don't be surprised by choppiness going into early October. Also waiting for the jobs number. Unless something comes out of nowhere, which again, this is where markets are probability based. I anticipate the market's chopping. Unless something very bad comes out of nowhere, I anticipate more of the same. Bank of England got their stuff under control near term. Not saying we're in a bull market by any means, but I'm thinking chop. Chop, chop, chop. People don't like to hear that word. They don't know how to trade it. It's not easy, I understand. Bitcoin, chop. Holding the lows. You can't get bearish until it breaks the lows. Can't get super bullish unless you get over, I'd say, at least 22,000. Chop. That's going to be the name and the theme of the game. Hit our long-term support on oil. 76. Still think it's going into the 60s at some point. And bounce. Chop. All right. Let's talk. And again, because remember, and this is when I say chop, important levels are holding. If important levels are holding, anticipate chop. I know I'm trying to make it simple, y'all. The dollar, talked about straight line move, 3 gap, left-right combo. Personally, long-term, dollar going much higher. I don't think people realize real dollar volatility. I mean, we're just at like a 30 in the VIX. Wait till the VIX hits like 80 or 90, and if that happens, then you're going to see the dollar move heaven and earth. Seriously. At this point, a lot of people, it's just overbought. I think it's just you can't go in a straight line forever. And again, a real uptrend doesn't do that. That's what I think people are going to mistaken when we get into metals trade at some point or commodities trade. I mean, you're going to get this kind of action. Looks a little overstretched. I mean, that's all. Now I'm saying near term, watch the 29s. That would be my guess. I think you can get below the 20-day. We've done it before. See? We've done it before. See? Done it before. It's right in there. Okay? So I don't think the 20-day is going to matter. Remember, use previous support resistance, Fibonacci's, or moving averages of importance for each name. And that's why people are like, you need to trade this, you need to trade that. No. You got to know the stocks that you know. Do your homework. Again, they all have different personalities. Talk about that all the time. The VIX got up into the target zone, backing off. Anticipated to hold 27, 28. Don't be surprised if somehow out of nowhere that gap fills. And if it doesn't, great. But that's your worst case scenario for the market to kind of like just get bullish real quick, real fast. Because it does that. I mean, it's a bear market. I mean, we talk about traders, market. People hate it. SPY. Chop. Chop, chop, chop. Holding the lows. You have to break. Now, I know we keep violating them temporarily, but 3,600 is a big psychological level. Think about it, right? Pre-COVID highs. I'm sorry, no, wait, 9. Yeah, I mean, you've got post-COVID, pre-COVID, big area, 3,600. Not trying to make this confusing. I mean, sometimes I stare at it and I'm like, seems obvious. You got to hold here. And this is what I've said over and over. Now I'm starting to see other people pick up on this. Maybe it's Not going to happen then, but I hope that it's not that obvious. I think we get into 380s to 390s. Talk about the 20-day for the SPY. Here you go. 380s, 390s. That, honestly, that would be so amazing because you get this up, boom. You can get more straight line, or I mean, I'd say stable trends with slower moves. I know everyone wants a straight line move into the dirt, but I mean, you can really milk a trend when it trends. I mean, it's just hard for the average person to trend because they don't know how to trend. Do you know how to trend, my friend? Some don't. Retesting the lows. Nice long wick here today. 270, 360 on the SPY. IWM. You know, what's it? 163s. Things that don't necessarily look bullish and confirm more chop to me, right? So if the dollar is coming down. Did I forget the TLT? Oh my gosh. TLT. Sorry, yields. Was it 2-year hit 4%? I think you're due to bounce. I mean, the economic data came out today. I mean, everyone knows the economy is weakening. The Feds are talking a big game. We'll see what happens. Again, adjustments and anticipations and expectations change all the time. Rumors start swirling. Bad data is good. Good data is bad. It's so hard sometimes. Just watch the levels, please. Like TLT, we've talked about it. Let me just zoom out on the monthly real quick. I think it'll help. This is an exorbitantly huge move in the TLT. Like, never seen anything this big. 150 to 100. Okay? Can it go lower? Obviously, yes. But that is a huge move. I mean, I didn't even anticipate that big. It was just way so they said it was like once in a 10 million or $30 million, 30 million odds, something crazy, like one in that. Gold. Okay, this is the one trade that I'm trusting at this moment, because if everybody's anticipating craziness, printer money, money go burr, printer go burr, all that kind of stuff, people I think will funnel into gold because it has what? It's down a lot. We talked about what? When you have a channel, the dip below the channel is sometimes the exhaustion. There it was. People are always amazed by that little trick, and it's like, Also, think about monthly. We're at decent support. I do not believe this is the final low, though. I repeat, this is not the final low for gold. Trade it, please. Don't come to me 3 months from now, going into the end of the year, tax law selling, and the market's down and gold's down. Right back here, and you're like, I didn't take any points, and then it went lower 10 points. I'm like, yeah, it could happen quickly. Remember, quickly. Velocity, high VIX. Things that would happen in years happen in days. Pretty wild. You'll see it. Silver. Head and shoulders bottom. I mean, someone might argue that. At whatever. Some 19, 18s, mid-18s. I think, again, as we talked about, when is the best time to buy silver? I mean, I feel like a broken record. It's only been 2 times in the last 2 decades, really. Here you go. COVID. 2008. Everything else was just fake crap. Everything, and again, that's a decent move. That was an okay move. I did not trade the volatility then. There's other names to trade. But point being, what? Please do not jump into silver early. Trade it. Trade it. Chop. Remember, chop, trade. Chop, trade. Trade, chop. It's just so silly to say. GDX. We talked about it. Being oversold. Broke below the channel. Decent little volume. I don't like it as much as my friend. The juniors. I've said this over and over. Get ready for the juniors to be the boss. And I'm not talking about right now, but when commodities are done, you will want to own junior miners all day versus large cap because they're going to get bought out left and right. Look at the volume. Looks way better. Near term, probably 50-day. If you bought this in the 26s like we talked about, congratulations for this. Because, three or 4 points. It seems, as long as I prefer easier trades. I know you can get 3 or 4 points elsewhere, but I don't worry about this trade. I feel like it's doing what it's supposed to do. AG, Some people bought it. Someone sold, bought the dip today, I think. Cool. I mean, I think you can play that all the way up into the 8s, maybe even 9. AEM. This one we talked about. This is one of the midder, upper, larger cap stocks that I think will get bought out at some point. Look at this. Volume. Retest the lows on lighter volume, bouncing back. Now, if the theme is chop and the VIX can go to whatever, some incredible level, probably anticipate 46. Max. 45, 46. After that, again, chop. Don't trust it. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard. Everyone's going to be so excited about certain things at certain times, and I'm telling you, they're going to pull the rug from under you. That's what they do. Think of this as the bucket shop, right? This is like the next level bucket shop stuff. Newmont, leave it alone. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. Pass. I mean, I guess it's good to look at because if it's bottoming, at least the whole sector won't continue to go lower. Nice little double bottom. I repeat. Red alert, repeat. Do not marry any of these trades, please. Study the past. Study the past. Study the past. I hate to, I try to have patience in the beginner room, but I'm just like, man, you say something 1,000 times, you think it might be important. Some people just don't remember it. Tech. Not looking so hot. Into a gap. Interesting. Has gone from 103 down to 65. Again, big move. Not saying it's going to new highs. Due to bounce. We'll see what happens. NVIDIA. Absolutely kicked. Beaten. Goes from 350. 122. What will it do? It'll stretch out. It'll bounce. Probably bounce 10 points. Okay? Be safe out there. Promise me. Promise me that. Sorry. Got an important text from the wife. Back on. Just 20-day maybe, 135, maybe you get up to 140. It just depends how squeezy the market gets. Apple. Big Bank of America downgrade today on the back of potentially fake news. I'm thankful I did not buy and hold any calls overnight on Apple. Now, what are we doing? If tech's soft, tech's soft. I doubt Apple's going to bounce as well now based on this information. We'll see. Could be wrong. I just don't see it getting back over 155 or the 20-day. Whatever comes first. So if 12 points gets you excited, and it could happen, there's a trade there. Amazon. This is the only tech name I have left. Why? Well, I said this in the Discord room. Trade names that are not near the lows. They're playing and acting better. Look at that. Qs make new lows. Amazon doesn't. Head up. Head up. Make sure your head is not up your butt. Make sure your head up is looking at the charts. Zoom out, please. CIM looks like a loser, but due to bounce, like AMD. Again, you notice how some of these names, the names that took out the lows, no buy. Or there's a bunch of them. No buy. Chop, I know. No buy. Google, same thing. Probably could bounce 4 or 5 points. Maybe. No buy. Meta up huge yesterday, and then another hiring freeze below the June lows. No buy. Microsoft. No buy. Below the June lows. Probably due to bounce. But just, do you get what I'm saying here? I'm not trying to say that you can't play these bounces. But let's anticipate names that'll hopefully have bigger bounces. Does that make sense? That's all I'm trying is like relative strength. Like MicroStrategy. Absolutely on fire. Holding up. I mean, I guess fire technically if you... A large enough fire that it'd be easy to PE and put it out. That's the kind of fire I'm talking about. Held the June, not even anywhere near the June lows. It's slightly lower lows. Clearly the 20-day is the next resistance. Get over it, you can fly. Netflix. I mean, this thing was up 20-something points yesterday. Doji. Chop. Things that are holding up better. Do y'all see like what I mean here? Like people are like, oh, you can't go higher. It's like, well, no, the things that are acting better, people are actually going to feel more comfortable buying. We'll see if the Microsofts get bought. We'll see if Googs get bought. We'll see if Meta. Maybe. Roblox. Oh, hello. Seems to be holding up, right? June lows. Holding up. Worth a watch. Breaks. I mean, you can see there's a little trend line starting to potentially roll itself out here. Breaks over. Roll out. Tesla. Now, this one got smoked today, which I'm not surprised, honestly, because let's be honest, their numbers are not going to hit. Holding up relatively well. Need to see it break the 100-day. Very clear. That's, if you're like shorting tech right now, that's an important level to confirm something. Because I know obviously Apple's taken out the lows of its August levels. Oh, that is not Apple. That is Adobe. See, right here. Anyway, but still relatively, I mean, watch what happens. It hits a certain level and they're going to start screaming, head and shoulders bottom. The bottom is here. Forgot SMH. Sorry, I don't know why I'm bouncing around today. Made lower lows. Overall, the index doesn't look terrible. Could be worse. Oh, I'm going to bounce back into commodities. I just in my mind is so spaced. I'm sorry, I had a long day. No one regrets this. They want me to go through this thoroughly anyway. I mean, you kind of, again, if I wasn't doing this with y'all, I'd be doing it with myself. Like, in a sense of talking and looking through charts. It's just nice to actually be able to share some insights with people because, again, like, this stuff is not easy. Held lows, we've said X, chop. Commodities, chop. Chop, chop. Nucor was a leader, had some bad, I don't know, mediocre guidance. Stronger name than obviously U.S. Steel. Watch the 90s. Again, I'm going to like talk quietly sometimes because I feel like this is like secrets. Like study the 2000s. When we came out of the 2001 to 2003 bear market, commodities were very choppy. And when they were done, they went zing higher. CCJ, wait for it. Means you can short these names on pops. Just have levels. Just have levels to watch. I mean, it's like everything else. It's all literally technical. I mean, literally. That's the key. Technical. Watch the levels. Watch the action. Try and hopefully teach this stuff so it starts to make sense. I mean, I feel like there's got to be. If you're one of the people who gets this, drop a like. I'm wondering how many people like actually are starting to see the markets for what they are and feel like they've got a better grasp on understanding things. Drop a like or a comment. Again, I think a lot of people are. It's just I always hear from the people that aren't. That's the problem. They're all like, oh, I did this and I did. It's like, why did you do that? Oh, you said this or the market said that and I'm down and I had to give it. I hate that stuff, man, because I used to do that. Still sometimes partially. VALE, fill the gap, leave it alone. You're like, moving right along. Arrow, someone asked today was up 7%. Decent volume. Interesting. Again, this is now one that we've seen near the low have volume multiple times. When it pulls back with the VIX, unless it gets bought out, that one's going to be on your watch list. Mosaic, another one you got to watch in the 40s. We love agriculture. Inflation? Oh, yeah, agriculture. CDF, boss. Watch for the 80s, maybe even the 60s. Ooh, it's exciting to think about some of the stuff. NDAQ, people are like, you're bouncing around. It's like, yeah, whatever. Trying to do the best I can. Should have shorted it here. Everyone knows we talked about it. I'm like, oh, I think it'll chop. Nope. Another trend line. You gotta let it bounce. Really that easy. If you're like, oh, don't say that. EXPI holding up pretty well. I know Biogen had some big news. Now, personally, I don't know how that affects the overall healthcare sets, like the smaller ones, but Biogen's a big one. Maybe just seeing them pop gets people excited. That's my guess. Financials got pretty dicey near the lows. Again, held. Chop. Morgan Stanley. Got down to 79. Making higher lows. Chops. Like, that's the leader. JP Morgan, not leading. Laggard. This is the Google. This is the Meta. Still bouncing and chopped. You see even like the laggards form these formations. It's just some move better than others. Man, I hope that becomes so apparent. People falling. Let's get in to my favorite short at some point. Hopefully it hasn't already started. Tan. Oh, you took out. Come on. Just a little bounce for the end of the quarter. Come on. That's all we need. 81 would be. I'd short that. It's like swipe right, swipe left. ENPH holding up. Pray it gets up to the 300s. Just someone DM me. Sedge, now this one has been a dog. We've talked about, like names that lead and hold up. This one in the solar space, any pop looks like this thing is going to the freaking dirt because again, relative strength, relative weakness. Sedge, relatively weak, but then also we want to pick off one of the high flyers. We want to pick off the Reading Railroad of Livermore's time. Man, popped up. So close for government work. I think this thing is going to peel like an onion, but again, chop could hold up. Remember, think about quarterly markups, new money coming in. If they're chasing winners, look at where this thing was in July, early July, 60s. People chase the winners. That's what they do, right? It's like everyone cheating off of everyone else's homework. Let's end it with Petro. And we talked about oil. It's just going to be choppy. The hurricane stuff is like peaking. Keep in mind, buy the rumor of the hurricane, sell the actual when it touches ground and really hits. It fully prices in essentially when the damage starts getting released. So we'll see what happens. Nat gas. Yeah, it's getting close to that 200 day. Again, equivalently, we've talked about this. Oil and gas is going to be extremely volatile. Everybody loved it at the highs. We warned people to get that, and now they still love it. So I just don't, it's going to have to wash out. But one of the things it's going to do is be choppy. I'm going to talk about Occidental because someone said short ExxonMobil, and I about blew a gasket today. If Buffett's announced that, it's got a couple-day run-up in it, typically. Then somebody said, oh, I'm going to short ExxonMobil today. I'm like, what looks bearish about this? You're not taking out any levels. You're not taking out the 200-day. It's actually above the gap down. It looks really strong. Look at the S&P 500 and the Q's making new lows, and someone's like, oh, I got to short the strongest name in the oil patch other than Occidental. I'm like, if oil's not going down, gas is stuck. I'm just telling you, if the market rises, gas and oil, flatline, even pop, they will buy the service names every time because they're part of the market. Remember that. Man, people think independently. It's wrong. Unless something on its own happens, you can't really anticipate it, okay? XOP, same thing. A lot of people are like, oh, I got to buy the drip. And I'm like, no, this looks good. It's into the gap. Looks way better than a lot of other sectors. Now that could all change. We know that. But I would pick off the low-hanging fruit. Pick off the sedges, right? When that thing pops, nothing. Now people are like, oh, but you've been picking on the leaders of the solar names. Well, yes. But if I anticipate oil and gas going down later, that's where I'm looking at solar. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, when I say low-hanging fruit, oil services, that, again, chopping. I anticipate the market's going to chop up and down. Wouldn't we all agree? Just go back to the SPY and end it on this. Very clearly, has to hold 3,600, 360 on the SPY. SPX, the level. 36 hundo. If you have questions, again, please reach out. If you are, again, struggling, be careful. And I'm going to end a note on something Lupus asked me to talk about, which was when you're, how the market rotates. So the market can go up and certain things can go down and certain things can go down and the market can still go up, kind of vice versa. Money rotates, right? If Apple wasn't down today, you looked at the market and a few of the tech names, you go, yeah, that's pretty bad. Everything else, like oil, gas, banks weren't down terribly. Some of the materials names held up pretty well. Clearly gold was flatlining. This is what happens when money rotates. So keep in mind, tech might get weaker. Hence why I'm lay off some of this crap. If it's the weaker looking, lay off of it. But the market could technically rally as money flows out of tech and into the sectors of the future, which I think is happening. Okay? Be safe out there. Be smart. Every time people come in and just freak out at the lows or oh, the market's getting puked. Do you ever notice how the market typically, by the time you feel like reaching out on social media, the market's already down a huge and you're literally parroting the market maker's speech, what they want you to tell others. because then it turns right back around. Now it happens not every time, but it seems to be. You know those people. If you're on the Discord room, you're like, what else do you think about? Oh, the market's about to snap. No man's land, game over, the end of the world. I'm going all in SQQ at the lows. Okay. Anyway, on that note, be safe. Talk to y'all later. Peace.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.